to be praised. Oh, magnify the Lord, for He is worthy to be praised. Hosanna, blessed be the rock, blessed be the rock of my salvation. Hosanna, blessed be the rock, blessed be the rock of my salvation. Oh, magnify the Lord, for He is worthy to be praised. Oh, magnify the Lord, for He is worthy to be praised. Hosanna, blessed be the rock, blessed be the rock of my salvation. Hosanna, blessed be the rock, blessed be the rock of my salvation. Oh, magnify the Lord, for He is worthy to be praised. Oh, magnify the Lord, for He is worthy to be praised. Hosanna, blessed be the rock, blessed be the rock of my salvation. Hosanna, blessed be the rock, blessed be the rock of my salvation. Hallelujah. Won't you get your Bibles in your hand as we quickly receive the word of God today? Psalm 125. Psalm 125. Amen. Amen. Deacon Tyrone Campbell, I'm going to ask you to come and read for us the word of God. After which we're going to gather around the altar for prayer. Amen. Deacon William Campbell will come and pray for us today as we gather in the presence of the Lord.
Praise God and all blessing, Lord. Psalm 125. Still here, it reads thusly. They that trust in the Lord shall be as Mount Zion, which cannot be removed, but abideth forever. As the mountains are round about Jerusalem, so the Lord is round about his people, from henceforth ever, even forever. For the rod of the wicked shall not rest upon the lot of the righteous, lest the righteous put forth their hands unto iniquities. Do good, O Lord, unto those that be good, and to them that are upright in their hearts. As for such as turn aside unto their crooked ways, the Lord shall lead them forth with the workers of iniquity, but peace shall be upon Israel. God's word for God's people.
You might come to the altar as we pray. Creator of all mankind, the maker of every good and perfect gift. It's once again, Lord, we stand before you as humble as we know how, just to say thank you.
Thank you, Lord.
We thank you, Lord, for waking us up this morning.
Yes, sir.
When you woke us up, we were in our best frame of mind.
Hallelujah.
We have a reasonable portion of our health and strength.
Yes,
We thank you so much for that. We thank you for just watching over us all.
hallelujah.
You didn't have to do it, but you did it anyway.
I know that's right.
Thank you for loving us better than we love ourselves.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for always making a way of the number.
Yes, sir.
God that always had our back.
Yes, Lord.
Thank you for being God all by yourself. Thank you for bringing us through seen and unseen dangers.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for just teaching us how to love one another.
Yes,
How to respect each other. Just how to just show love.
Yes, oh God.
Because God, you are love.
Yes.
We just love you so much.
yes,
And Lord, we just pray for that last today. We pray you continue to bless and strengthen them. Pray for us now. Pray that you have never thank you for being honest. Just pray that you just keep us in the power of your hand, Jesus. And just continue to bless them, Lord Jesus. We pray for this congregation. Pray that you will continue to bless each and every one of us.
yes,
Give us a mind to stay on you.
Yes, sir.
Give us a mind that wants to know more of you. Thank you, Lord. We just need some good jobs.
Thank you.
Because there's so many people that's suffering and hurting. And you just continue to bless us. The ones that know you. All you have to do is just cry out to him. And he will be there to bless you. So we just love you. And we will continue to love you.
Thank you.
This is my way in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
I got it first. God bless you, honey. All right, always.
I've been camping one time.
bless you, sir.
Amen. Amen. The first offering this evening, Missionary Baptist Church, is the mission offering as we seek to have an impact on the quality of life that others share and give strength to that which we do in terms of proclamation. We also want people to tangibly know that God is with them. Today we shared the body work of our National Baptist Convention, USA Inc. And what you give today will serve as representative of our love and care for the world. There are people all across the world suffering various situations, some devastated by floods, some devastated by fires, others just involved in the systemic poverty situations that around the world are taking charge of people's lives. But what we do in a loving way can have a wonderful impact on what people experience and cause them to know the love of God. As you give the mission offering today, we will be paying our representation fee at the National Baptist Convention USA. And what you do really demonstrates true Christian love and fellowship as we unite in a united fashion, share in the wider work of the kingdom. Amen. Ushers, you might come as we prepare to receive from the people of God. And I'm going to ask Evangelist Ruth Wilson to breathe a brief prayer as we would receive the gifts of the benevolence.
To show love and others. You have blessed us in the Father, we just want to say thank you. Lord God, we can't repay you, Heavenly Father, but we say thank you, Lord, that we get down someone else along the way, that our living will not be in vain. Bless the offering, Heavenly Father, wherever it goes over the world, Lord, and help the people in Jesus' name. Amen.
for being the good and gracious God that He is, and all praise is due unto His name. Come on and bless the Lord as we worship Him. Bless the slain in this house of God, where we give Him the glory, the honor, and the praise. Amen. This has been promotion day for our Sunday school, and there's some students who are now advancing to the next level of instruction. And we certainly always thank the Lord for the growth of our people through the Sunday school. Amen. Those of you who go to Sunday school, let me see you wave your hand after me. All of the Sunday school students and scholars, amen, amen. Look around, there's somebody near you that needs to be in a Sunday school class. There's somebody near you that needs to be in a Sunday school class. We're going to keep on working on them until we get everybody in a Sunday school class. Amen. Tell them Sunday school is good. Amen, amen. Praise the Lord, praise the Lord. It's a wonderful place where you can get some of your questions answered. Amen. 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 Praise the Lord. It's been a good week, hasn't it? Amen. I don't know about you, but I'm thanking the Lord that He has been blessing my week. Amen. He's been gooder than good. He's been better than the best. And can't nobody do you like Jesus. I'm so glad about it. So glad about it. Amen. Amen. Well, it's giving time in the house of God as we come to bring to the offering of sacrifice. I'm going to encourage that you would come and give strongly for the work of God. Amen. This is the place where we pay the gas, the electric bill, pay our employees, and give money for ministry. Amen. Amen. We give money for ministry so that the good work of God can continue and the people of God be encouraged as we labor for the Lord. You know, giving is an act of God, because God is the first giver. God is the first giver. He has patterned for us the generosity that ought to be displayed in our lives. Amen. Amen. The good thing about God requiring of us a tithe is He gave it to us so we could give it. Amen. He gave it to us so we could give it. And so when we don't give it, it's not that He didn't do His part. Amen. Because He gave us what we needed in order for us to do the 10%. And so we praise God for being so generous, so kind toward us. And we're just reminded that His generosity is a pattern for us in terms of how we ought to live. Amen? Amen. Amen. Would you do your neighbor a favor and say, neighbor, I just want to tell you thank you. Amen. Amen. For what you contribute to the worship, for the spirit you bring to the life of this congregation. Amen. We thank you. We thank you. We thank you. Would you stand as we prayerfully consecrate our gifts today? It's a privilege to give to God. And this is a joyous thing as we do it obediently. Amen. Reverend Josiah will come and give God thanks for giving of God's people, after which we will follow the instructions of the usher.
Dear Lord, we thank you for the funds we're about to receive for the betterment of your kingdom. We thank you, Lord, we don't take this for granted. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Grace, mercy, and the peace of God be upon you as we gather this hour around the word of the Lord. We invite your attention to 2 Timothy chapter 4. 2 Timothy chapter 4. 2 Timothy chapter 4. And we're going to begin our reading today at verse 9. 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 9. Do thy diligence to come shortly unto me, for Demas hath forsaken me, having loved this present world, and is departed unto Thessalonica. Perkins to Galatia, Titus to Dalmatia. Only Luke is with me. Take Mark and bring him with thee, for he is profitable to me for the ministry. And Tychicus have I sent to Ephesus. And the cloak that I left at Troas with Carpus, when thou comest, bring it with thee, and the books, but especially the parchments. Alexander the coppersmith did me much evil. The Lord reward him according to his works. Of whom be thou aware also, for he hath greatly withstood our words. At my first answer, no man stood with me, but all men forsook me. I pray God that it may not be laid to their charge. Notwithstanding, the Lord stood with me and strengthened me, that by me the preaching might be fully known, that all the Gentiles might hear. And I was delivered out of the mouth of the lion. The word of the Lord for the people of God. I want to use for a thought as we examine this passage, strengthen me. Strengthen me. These days are rather disconcerting days. People everywhere are trying to find the strength to endure. Yes. There's much that seems to be ebbing away as we consider we need something to give us the strength, the wherewithal to survive. It seems like every day there's something in the news to pull at our strength. People are becoming disconcerted, disheartened, and discouraged. Strength to just make it in the day. Ebbing away. There's some people who even this morning, the alarm clock went off. You saw light coming in the window. And you turned over because you didn't feel like getting up for the day. Some of us, if it wasn't for that morning urge to run to the bathroom, we'd still be sleeping a day away. That great apostle Paul was not a person who didn't feel our pain, have some sense of our struggle, yet he persevered nonetheless. Greatly persecuted, but a man who had to learn how to be humble and put his trust in God. Living this life ain't easy, but living this life ain't too hard. He calls to his son and companion in ministry to do thy diligence to come shortly to see him. Timothy is hearing from his mentor, his minister, his leader, come see me. And don't be too long. No matter who you are, how strong you are, every now and then you need human companionship. We're built that way. You can't make it by yourself on your own, all alone. I hear some folk brag about being alone. I'm alone. I'm just to myself. That's when you go crazy too. Crazy by yourself. God built us for companionship. Lone Wolf Ministry died a long time ago. And the apostle, even as he's aging, sends for his young son, Timothy, to come see it. Because every now and then you need somebody. You need somebody. You need somebody. Touch your neighbor and tell a neighbor, you need somebody. Yesterday, you needed something. This work of ministry can be sometimes draining. And if you're trying to do what you do all alone, by yourself, you'll find yourself wearing yourself out. You need somebody, you need some help. Now, Dean Martin, some of y'all don't know him. Some of y'all will remember Dean Martin, who used to slide down the stair rail. He used to say, everybody needs somebody sometime. And some of y'all need to know, even though he was drunk when he sang, he was right. And some of y'all sober need to hear it. Because when you really engage in the work, it can take so much out of you. But when you have good companionship, fellowship, you can be renewed and restored. Now, you'll remember, those of you who were here in the good days of training, Dr. G. Lopez just said, everybody needs a pastor, a psychiatrist, and a friend who isn't saved. Pastor, a psychiatrist, and a friend who isn't saved. You need a pastor to help shepherd you. Everybody needs some shepherding sometime. You need a psychiatrist because you need somebody who's a sounding board that you can talk, say something, and field your thoughts. Field your thoughts. I also encourage people to write your thoughts down. Write them down, read them, rehearse them, especially preachers. Write your thoughts down. Write your sermon out. You don't know how stupid some things are until you see it in print. Well, that's good for everybody. Sometimes if you could just write out what you say and see it, you say, a crazy person wrote that. Need a sounding board. Everything sounds good in your head. You don't know how questionable some things are until somebody else hears it. And said, wait a minute, did you think this through? And you say, why do you need a friend who's not saved? I got some unsaved friends. Now, I wonder about folk who never do any evangelism because they don't know anybody who ain't saved. If you don't know folk who ain't saved, then you need to look at where you are. Amen. Don't be insulted. This is just a learning exercise, right? Everybody needs to know somebody who's not saved. If you don't know anybody who's not saved, then you've been too sheltered. You stay in the house too much. You watch television too much. Amen. You ought to know some unsaved people. And one of those unsaved people need to be a friend of yours. You need to befriend an unsaved person. And here's the reason why. They're going to tell you the truth that brings you back to reality. Because all of us have a tendency to hug the illusion of life as we want to see it. And people who ain't saved, they just don't mind telling you that it ain't all as you think it is. They keep you sober. For folk who get real high on religion, they need to be sobered up. So he says, come see me. Companionship matters. Partnership matters. Not being alone matters. He says, Demas has forsaken me. I think it's interesting as we look at Demas, it's like so many church folk now, it says Demas has forsaken me. He left me. And why did he leave? Why did he leave? Because his love for the world was so much greater than his love for Christ. You wonder sometimes, how can people walk away from the Lord? How can they walk away from the church? How can they walk away from all the things that used to hold you together? You know, folk get saved early and they start singing and shouting and running around, and then after a while they cool off and you don't see none of that. What happened? For some of us, our love for the world is so great that we are willing to have it rather than Jesus. And we can turn our backs on it. We can walk away. We can walk away from that which is not really in our heart. Which is why having a casual, laissez-faire Christian relationship doesn't work. Either you are or you are not. Either you're in or you're out. The Apostle Paul asserts that his love for the world has pulled him away and he departed. It is interesting that he goes to Thessalonica. We need to check up on Thessalonica. That'll tell you something about why he possibly went to Thessalonica. When people walk away from Christ, walk away from the Word, walk away from the church, and go back to the world, they go back to some specific things where their heart is. They don't just walk back to nothing. They go back to something that appeals to their heart. Others he sent away on ministry assignments. They left to do what it is he gave them to do. And he says, only Luke is with me. Only the physician is with me. And it is believed that Luke helped to take care of the physiological ills of the apostle. And so he says, take Mark and bring him with you. Now you'll remember that Paul and Mark fell out. Amen. Some of y'all know about falling out, don't you? Y'all fell out with somebody somewhere along the line. Problem with so many of us is we fall out forever. We ain't been back to the family reunion since. That Negro did what he did. We fell out. We ain't been back. We ain't going back. And as long as they live, we ain't coming. But when they die, we know he dead and gone, we might come back. Because when we fall out, we fall out. Don't nobody fall out like black people. I don't know what to say about us. When black people fall out, we fall out. Somebody mentioned somebody's name. Don't you even mention that name around me. See, some of y'all scared to look on the other side of the room. But anyway. Paul and Mark fell out because, let me put it to you like this. Paul considered Mark a punk out. Let me see if I can help you. Paul thought Mark was a chump and he was not ready to do ministry. Because wherever Paul went, he knew you had to go hard. You had to be strong. You couldn't be weak. And he didn't want Mark around because Mark was not yet mature. So he said, no, I don't want him around me. Don't even bring him around, because if there's going to be a fight, you don't have to be covering for him. But now he says, bring him because he's profitable for ministry. Bring him. Don't fall out forever. Some of them people that you say are good for nothing, good for something. Y'all know how y'all do. He ain't good for nothing. Right. I done heard some talk. He ain't no real man. He ain't good for nothing. Well, he was good for something. For a while. And then you discover he wasn't good for nothing. And then you discard it. Paul matures. He grows. And he comes to the place where he can find value for other people who may not be like him. Because everybody's not going to be like you. And if the world was just full of people like you, just imagine if we had a world full of Trumps. Everything, everywhere was a Trump. I don't think the world would last long. After all, my butt is bigger than yours. It's all over. Do you know that no two people are the same? But everybody has value. No two people do some things the same, but everybody has value. The problem with our world is we're too much like Trump. We don't see value in other people. All we see is us. So he says, bring Mark, for he is profitable for ministry. His vision has grown. His appreciation for others and their gifting has grown. And now he can make room for it. That coat that I have left behind, bring it to me. And he says, when you come, bring with you the books, but especially the parchments. The Bible, as we know it, originally was on parchments. It's become important to him that you bring not just the books, but especially the word. We need the word. He treasures it over other things he reads. And it's wonderful that we are reading all kinds of stuff these days. For some of us, we're reading all kinds of books. My pastor encouraged me to be a reader. He used to tell me, read everything. I said, everything, Pastor? He said, everything. So I said, well, what about Playboy and Hustler? He said, read everything. Here's what he told me. There's some good articles in there too. Articles. There's stuff other than fiction, though. He said, read everything. Because there's something about reading that captivates the mind and spirit. You can go places you've never gone if you read it. You can experience things you would not otherwise experience if you read. But he says, don't just bring the books, but the parchments. Because I not only want to read other stuff, I need the word. I need the word of God. Our day is an interesting day because people do read a lot. I'm amazed as you ride along and babies in the car, they start reading. They read everything. They read what's on a truck. They read what's on a sign. They read what's on the side of the building. And if you ain't careful, they'll read your mind. Little children just reading everything. But he says, not only do I want the books, but I want the parchments because the word of God is important. It's important for me to know what's in the word. And I wish that there were more believers who would take time to read the word as opposed to wait for somebody to tell you what's in it. Read it for yourself. Get to know it for yourself. Have a personal, down-to-earth relationship with the word of God and allow the word of God to seed into your soul and seed into the thoughts of your mind. That doesn't mean you're going to understand everything or that you'll have the proper interpretation of everything. It takes study. It takes study. Most of y'all read the English version of the book. You don't consider the Hebrew, Chaldee, or the Greek. But if you ever get into studying it, you discover that some of the things you thought it said, it really didn't say. Because when you really get into study, you want to understand what meaning is. What does it really mean? Because what's in the parchments is important. Then he talks about Alexander the coppersmith. Did me much evil. The Lord reward him according to his works. Can I tell you, you do not need to render evil for evil. You don't have to go after somebody because they came after you. You don't have to do something wrong because they did you wrong. Because if they do you wrong, you can trust God to take care of it. Right? I mean, I know you feel good when your buddy said, man, I got your back. But it feels a whole lot better when God has you. I don't know all of what he did, but one of the things I know he did that was considered evil toward the apostle is he was an arguer. He was an arguer. Alexander was not just known as a coppersmith. He was a man with words. He was kind of a wordsmith. Y'all know what wordsmith is, right? people good with words. They know how to weave them together. They know how to make words work. They can even make up words if there's not a word to say what they want to say. And whenever Paul was preaching, Alexander was able to withstand his preaching. You ever talk to somebody and it seems like the more you talk, the less you get through? Craddock wrote a book years ago entitled Overhearing the Gospel. Overhearing the Gospel. Overhearing the Gospel. The problem with preaching to people every week is that there are people who get to the place where I heard that. I know that. And they shut down because they don't believe they need to hear it anymore. They got it. They got the gospel message, they got it down pat, and so I don't need to listen anymore. You talk to them, but when it comes to me, talk to the hand. Because they heard the gospel and they feel like they don't need to hear it anymore. They overheard it. They are OD'd on the word. OD'd on the word. Overdosed. Got enough. High. Because they know it all. So you can't tell them anything. Sometimes people get to a place where they've overheard. And they've heard. And they don't think there's anything new they can know or learn. And so when preaching time comes, they shut down. They shut out. They text, email, go to sleep, do something else, but they ain't listening. And just imagine that somebody puts up that kind of a resistance every time you preach. I mean, I can remember when I stand and preach and people would sit and turn their back to the pulpit so they wouldn't have to look at me. It's what people do. But you don't stop preaching because they don't listen that day. You don't stop teaching because they turn their back on you that day. You keep teaching. You keep preaching. Because guess what? Life happens. You know what happens when life happens? It wakes people up and it makes them realize I still need what I thought I didn't need. Right? When you have a stroke, when you have a heart attack, when your child gets kidnapped, or your child dies, you will see that you needed what you didn't think you would need. I'm watching people who walked away from the church, stopped coming to church because they thought they didn't need it, but they came to a place in life where they found that they need what they thought they didn't need. Keep living. Something will turn you around. So he says, he did me much evil. He withstood my words. In these days, it's almost tragic that there's a resistance to the word of God. As I look at what's happening across the nation, as truth is called into question and alternative truth becomes the new day reality. People are walking away from the word of God as if the word of God does not matter. But I can tell you that the current shifts, not just in our nation but in the world, are going to bring people face to face with what is my reality. What is my truth? And we're going to have to face it. So he says, at my first answer, no man stood with me. I was alone, by myself. I was fighting this battle, preaching this word, and I was by myself, left alone, all men forsook me. And I pray, God, that it be not laid to their charge. As you engage in ministry, you need to know that there's some people who are going to be with you, but then they won't be with you. They're here today, and then they'll be gone tomorrow. Everybody's not built for the long haul. Some people are here now, but they're going to drop off. And sometimes those who work real hard get disappointed because you wonder, whatever happened to the people who said they were going to help me with this? Where did they go? They found other priorities. Other things became important. Life happens. The things that pull them away won't keep them forever. I've heard all kinds of excuses when it comes to ministry. Well, Reverend, I can't do this because my mother said it won't be forever. Then when mother died, that excuse was gone. So the boyfriend gets sick. Won't last forever. I just had a baby. I think that man over there. Now I got to raise this baby for 18 years. It won't be forever. You might get an early reprieve. Maybe you turn 16 and tell you, I don't need you. Amen. It happens. Life happens. He says, all men forsook me, and I pray God not lay it to their charge. Notwithstanding, the Lord stood with me. So how do you find your strength? You find your strength in knowing that the Lord stands with me. And if God be for me, some people know the Bible. If God be for me, he is more than the world against me. Check that out. If you got God on your side, it doesn't matter who else is on the other side. What you got to do is make sure God is on your side. And the best way to make sure God is on your side is to make sure you are on God's side. Because that's what it takes for him to strengthen you. You got to know he's with you. He's with you. Now, when I say he's with you, I don't mean he's with you like he's with everybody in the world. He's with everybody in the world. He's everywhere at the same time. Thank God for that. He's with everybody in the world. But to say that he is with you means that he is uniquely and particularly with you where you are in the circumstance that you are in, and you know it. Amen. And you know it. He is with me. He's with me right here, right now, in what I am in. So I am not in what I am in alone. Check this. Whether or not I put me where I am. Amen. He is with me whether or not I put me where I am, because there are times we put ourselves where we are. But there are times when we are displaced because of other circumstances. But when he's with you, he is with you. It's good to know he's with you. You can be strong when you know he's with you. Let me just show you how to know. Everybody that has some punk in them, stand up when they know they got some backup. It's kind of like the little boy who's walking down the street, and he would run past this certain house because the dog would always bark at him and he'd be scared. Dog bark, he gets scared, he run. Every time he went past that yard, see that dog bark, he gets scared and he would run. But one day, his big brother, who happened to be a dog handler, happened to be on the scene. The dog was barking at him. He saw the dog, but he also saw his big brother. So he decided, because his big brother was there, and his big brother was a dog handler, he just walked past the yard. It was then he could look the dog in the face and say, "What you barking at?" His confidence was in the fact that his big brother, the dog handler, was there.
Yeah.
So sometimes people get brave when they know they got backup. When you know God is your backup, you can be strong, steady, steadfast, unmovable. And that's the way you ought to be when you know God is your backup. He's with me and he strengthens me. He strengthens me in the word because he increases my understanding. He strengthens me in prayer because my communication with God fortifies me. Not just because I tell God what's on my mind, because in my hearing from God, he strengthens me and allows the full manifestation of my ministry, making it fully known. Now, Paul came to understand that this strength is not like any other strength. Though the activity that is necessary to produce it is similar. For those of you who go to the gym, lift weights, you know that you build your muscle by lifting weight. And it's the resistance of moving the weight that causes your muscles to be activated to strengthen itself. The strength comes by resistance. The strength comes by resistance. In this life, the spiritual strength that is provided by the Holy Spirit is a strength that comes by resistance. That is, you are opposing something that opposes you, and as you stand in the strength that God provides, you are given a capacity to handle, to manage, to deal with that which opposes you in a way that it becomes easier. It becomes easier. Your prayer life accelerates, increases. The more you pray, the more accurately you will pray. The more accurately you pray, the more you will pray. The more you pray, the more you will love to pray. The more you love to pray, the more you will pray. You increase because you are developing as you handle and manage the resistance element. See, when you pray, you don't just pray for something. Here's a little secret you may not have known. When you pray for something, you also pray against something. So when you pray for what you pray for, that's what you want. When you pray for what you want, you are praying against what you do not want. Are you with me? So there's got to be some resistance against what you don't want in order to produce what you do want. Okay. That's a hard example. So, if you're broke and you want money, you don't find other broke people to hang with. Because other broke people ain't got nothing to give. So you make friends with somebody who ain't broke. Because somebody who's not broke has the capacity to sow into you something that can help you not be broke. My pastor used to say, birds of a feather flock together. And you are who you hang out with. So if you hang out with people who ain't going nowhere, who ain't doing nothing, and they're good at it. There are some people who ain't doing nothing, ain't going nowhere, and they're good at it. And if you hang out with them, you'll become good at it. Going nowhere and doing nothing, and just look pretty doing nothing. But if you want to be somebody doing something different, if you want to be a person of faith, you got to hang with people who have faith. If you want to be a person of prayer, you got to hang with people who pray. If you want to be a person who just loves life, you got to hang with people who love life. If you pursue what it is you are after by assimilating yourself with those that have the means of producing it, you are more likely to become the kind of person you are seeking to become. When you were born, God had something to do with you being born. How many of you in here are accidents? Let me see your hands. All of you were accidents. Mama didn't plan to have you. Daddy didn't have you on his mind. You just showed up. The rest of y'all are seeds of great promise. Your mama was trying to have you, and your daddy just knew he was going to do you. All right, I'm the only accident in here because I know that my mom and daddy got married in June, and I was born in October. If you went to school, you do the math. Okay? So I didn't hear there was a shotgun, but there could have been. Anyway. Whether or not your mother and your father had plans for you when you were born into this world, God had a plan. You have to spend more time embracing the plan than embracing how you get it. That's coincidental. God's plan for you is determined and direct. So watch this. You discover what God's plan is for you and walk in it. Fulfill it. Become it. Do it. And you'll discover. Because he had a plan for me, I can do what he has planned. I can accomplish what he wills. Let me leave you this final thought. The apostle becomes known among the Gentiles. He's a Jew, but he becomes known among the Gentiles. And the word of God that he is preaching is being manifested among the Gentiles. And the Gentiles were not necessarily to be considered friends. For all of you who have enemies or frenemies, and you keep praying and you keep waiting for God to make them your footstool, right? Because he said, I'll make your enemies your footstool. And most of us, we want them to be footstool so we can finally put our feet on them. Just gotta put my feet on them. Because if I put my foot on them, I can rise up by standing on my enemies. And that's the way we like it. We want to stand on our enemies. And we're waiting for God to vanquish us. We're waiting for God to take out vengeance for us and avenge us. Put me on top, put me over my enemies. We want them to disappear, we want them to hurt, we want them going through anguish and pain like we did, right? And that's not altogether God's intent. He preaches to Gentiles, and guess what? Gentiles hear, Gentiles get saved, they get delivered. Because crazy people like Jesus come along and say, love your enemies. See how y'all smile? Love your enemies. Love your enemies. Be good to them that despitefully use you. If your enemy hunger, feed him. If he's thirsty, give him something to drink. Go to the Coke machine and get your enemy a Coke and say, here, have it. We feel like Jesus got it wrong, right? What God wants to do more than anything is use your life as a beacon light, shining example of what God can accomplish through you. And make your enemies wonder, how is it you live like that? How is it when everybody else is falling apart, you still able to hold it together? How is it that you're happy when everybody else is sad? What you smoking? Your enemies are going to one day want to know what's holding you up. And you need to be able to tell them God did it. God's doing it. It's not by my strength and not by my power, but by the Spirit of the Lord who lives within me and who operates through me and causes me to know myself better than I ever could. He strengthens me. His word strengthens me. My prayer life strengthens me. I am who I am. I have become who I have become because he strengthens me. This strength is invisible, unseen. But the results that are manifested by the strength are tremendous. Kind of like Popeye, a sailor man. He gets hold of a can of spinach, squeezes it until it pops. You pray until it pops. You read the word until it pops. You keep believing until it pops. And then the spinach flies up in the air and he opens his mouth and swallows. And the spinach goes down and you see it bounce around. And all of a sudden, that little bit of spinach that he swallows, the word of God in your faith, allows him to squeeze his musculature together and produce what he did not have before. Muscles. And big old Pluto, who was a fierce enemy, could not withstand Popeye's blows. Bing! and the enemy's out. God did not make us to be weak and vacillating. He built us to be strong. He provides us with all that we need to be strong. When the time of testing comes, we got to remember, we were built for this. We were built for this. When troubles and adversity comes, we were built for this. We weren't built to run. We were built to face it. That's why all of your armor is in the front and there's nothing in the back. If the devil kicks you in the behind, it's because you didn't look at him. If you keep getting kicked in the behind, God lets it happen to tell you, turn around. Because you were built for this. You were built to be God's child, built to be strong, built to know the relevance, built to produce. And if you do what He built you to do, you do well. Let's pray. Father, thank you for the challenge of our faith to meet every obstacle, every need, that we might be all you call for us to be in this day and time. Make us strong. Build us up in the broken places. Let your strength be our strength as we walk by faith and not by sight. In the name of Christ Jesus, our Lord, we pray. And all the people of God say amen. To those of you who tune into this broadcast, and for those of you who assemble in this room, God's will and desire for you is that you become that chief example that the world has never seen. Of one who is strong, resilient, accomplishing the purposes of God in your life, simply because you're willing to let Him be your strength more than anything else. These are days when the strength we must demonstrate is not a physical power, but spiritual might. And that spiritual might is available to each of you as you walk with God and by faith stand in the test of time. All of us are going to have our day. All of us are going to be tested. But will you stand? God bless you.
Spirit,